Armour is pretty important in PUBG. Chest armour absorbs damage you take from bullets, and a helmet can save your life if you get hit in the head, especially with a rifle. So playing without either of them would be a bit of a disadvantage, I guess, so let's give it a go then, let's make it a challenge. So in this one, I'm allowed to pick anything up like weapons, meds, backpacks, but I'm not allowed to pick up any armour or helmets. And basically, that means that if a rifle hits me in the head, or even an SMG up close, I'm in big trouble. First things first, let's deal with this chap. I got myself a pistol, and it looks as though they've been lucky enough to not find a gun straight away. Perhaps the PUBG gods are on my side for this particular challenge. We'll see. Now, I know I saw a second guy when I was parachuting in, so I'm waiting around for them, but they do me a favour by just running out into the open here. And I've already killed a guy, and I would have assumed that he heard the gunfire, but perhaps not. And as luck would have it, what did this guy have? A Car 98, so saves me a job of looting, thank you. Now, I landed at Novo, and of course the zone is absolutely nowhere near me, but thankfully there was a boat at the dock, so I grabbed that, and it got me pretty close, but I still had a bit of a run ahead of me. And then I hear a buggy behind me, and my spray with the SCAR when I'm using a red dot is okay, but with the 4 times, not so much. A quick scope change mid-fight though will change that. I tell you though, that feature from Ring of Elysium, that PUBG clone, being able to change scopes on the fly would have come in really handy there. But I did shoot out one of the tyres on the buggy. Quick loot. Change up the scopes a little bit and we'll jump in the buggy. It's still usable and it's going to take me to the next zone. I'm not sure if you've heard, but PUBG have recently had some pretty huge esports news. They've announced a global invitational tournament that's going to happen in Berlin, Germany this summer. And it's taking place between July 25th and July 29th. And there's going to be 20 professional teams there. But here is the kicker. It's got a prize pool of $2 million. Now that is pretty impressive. There will be regional qualifiers hosted in North America, Europe and Asia, with the qualifying teams being able to compete at the event for the top prize. Last year there was a big tournament at Gamescom, and I think that had a pool of around $350,000, which was impressive, but to go up to $2 million this year, that's quite a jump. Now, there have been a few LAN events for PUBG recently, and I know there are a number of bigger orgs that have professional PUBG teams, but I still think certain gameplay elements just don't work that well for esports. One of those things is the viewer experience. The spec camera, as well as the replay system, has definitely had some improvements over the last year, but I still think it's got a long way to go before it's considered to be in a good state. That being said, the game is massive in China, and during the previous tournament at Gamescom, there were over 5 million concurrent viewers watching on Panda TV, and that's the Chinese equivalent to Twitch, I guess you could say. The popularity of the game in the Asian market is very impressive. Back to the game for a second though, and I was headed in this direction until I heard a UAZ driving past me and then stopping, and I can see the UAZ there right next to me. It's abandoned, so I know that there's a player around here somewhere, or at least there was. I spot him on the roof, and because I've got no helmet, I was being just a bit cautious with my shot. I was hoping that this guy was going to stand still, but when he didn't, I went for the shot there, missed. Not ideal. Of course, earlier on in the clip, I did shoot the guy towards Pachinki, and he could still be around, but because I'm right next to the new zone, I don't really have to worry that much or even run very far. And I'm just a bit worried here, being a bit cautious, moving around, not standing still, because I could be pinched from 2 different angles when I head into the new zone. So I'm just waiting it out here to see if that guy actually leaves the house, although they could have jumped out the side because I can't see. But I did watch the replay back just to check, and it turns out that he did in fact jump out the back window, hide in a shed, and then died to the zone. Glorious. But while I'm waiting around, I hear a guy running very close to me, and I'm not entirely sure what this guy was doing because they weren't really running towards the zone, unless maybe, I don't know, he spotted me and he was trying to flank. Either way, I take him out there and I just move on, forget about the guy in the house. Now, when the next zone comes in, I get caught in a nasty situation here because I tried to move around to the slow side of the zone, but I feel like I left it a bit too late, and I was worried that I'd end up in a worst case scenario where someone would just start shooting at me. That happened, as you can see. I spot him, fire off a couple of Kar 98 shots. They don't hit. My last shot, though, I think that was a hit, but so does his. And I've got no armor, I'm pretty injured, and now because I'm in the blue zone, I'm taking damage. Right now, I just need to get out of this fight as quick as possible, so I thought I'd head up to the left and just try and get in the zone rather than fighting it out. I do make it to the new zone, which happens to be towards the top of the mountain, but as is the way with PUBG, the next zone is back down the hill, and that just so happens to be where the guy who was just shooting at me is. Sadly, he moves away though, before I could take a shot at him. The next zone is also on the other side of the river, which is never fun when you've got to swim across, because you tend to be very vulnerable when you get out of the water. You're safe inside it at the moment. I think that's going to change. But my only play here really is to just head towards this guy, hug the zone as much as possible, and just try and get across the river, which isn't going to be easy. So I'm just being as quiet as possible, trying to keep a low profile. Now, as I'm wrapping around here, I do spot a guy just sticking out by the rocks. My guess is that this is the guy that shot at me a little while ago, and the one that I spotted from the top of the mountain. Thankfully, he doesn't spot me, and I'm able to just line up a headshot on him pretty easily there. Having a suppressed Kar 98 is so good in that kind of endgame situation there. Now this is where it starts to get a bit hectic. I make my way across the river without being shot at, but there's gunfire on my left and in front of me, and I've got to move because of the zone. Saw the guy on the hill there, and in hindsight, really, I shouldn't have fired at him because all it did was just get his attention. And then when I move up to the houses here, I can hear someone inside one of these buildings. So now I'm in a sticky spot. The guy on the hill knows where I am. There's this guy right up close to me, and the zone is moving in fast. I do manage to get a kill on the elephant in the building there, and I can see the hill guy now moving down the road. But I've got a decision to make. He grabs the bike, and sure, yeah, I could shoot at this guy, but if I didn't stop to heal there, I'd be dead. So I have to let him go. That one was very close, and I'm just running here trying to get in the zone as quick as possible. I was very lucky because I had quite a few medkits from the looting I'd done, and this will enable me to just get into the zone. But if anyone else shoots at me here, I'm absolutely screwed. I'm also a little surprised that the guy on the bike wasn't just waiting for me on the edge, because that's what I would have done, but I live to fight another day. Once I'm healed up, my initial thought was to head towards the slow side of the circle. This tends to be what a lot of players do because it means that there's less area to check. There is a guy driving into the centre. Not exactly sure why, but I didn't shoot at him to begin with. That's when I spotted the second guy by the tree there, take him out with a headshot, and then fire at the car guy. Just waiting for this guy to stand still. I do get a tag, but not enough to take him out. Sadly, I missed the headshot there. Took the second shot. He's running away, but right now my main focus has to be to get into the zone. There are 3 people left, including me, and I know where one of them is because I just shot at them. The last guy, however, he's an unknown, so I head towards the rock in the UAZ, being careful not to get too close to it in case a player tries to blow it up. And just after I get to the rock, this comes down to a 1 versus 1, the ultimate showdown. Just me, one other guy, and I know that they're on the top of the hill somewhere, and then they spot me. Oh, nearly died there in 1 bullet. I got pretty lucky. If I had armor, I definitely wouldn't have taken as much damage. Now it's just a game of cat and mouse. Now he knows where I am, and I know where he is, but he does have a pretty nice head glitch there at the top of the hill, and he seems intent on blowing up the UAZ, which honestly I'm fine with because then I can use it as cover without having to worry that it's going to explode. So thanks for that. Now, he does tag me a few more times. I hit him once with the car, but it's a bit of a stalemate. What I do have, though, is the zone. RNGesus is on my side. And when the zone moves in, I edge a little bit towards the next tree, and I spot the guy on my left, but as I do, he spots me. I just missed that car shot close. I also noticed that he's got level 3 gear. Again, tag him a few times with the rifle shots. He tags me, but I get off a med kit pretty fast, and then he's got to move towards me So we trade a few shots, but I'm thinking that he's getting low on ammo. And there's only 13 shots left myself before I need to reload. I peek out, fully commit, boom. There it is. It's a nice win with 8 kills. He was a pretty good shot, to be fair, good player. I'll tell you what though, no armor isn't easy, especially knowing that if you get shot in the head once with an assault rifle, you're done for. But that's all for today, folks. If you enjoyed it, leave me a like. If you didn't, dislike. Subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you in the next one.